Hi, this is Vishnuvardhan Reddy Irua, studying Master of Science in Data Science at San Jose State University in California. Now, if we take any other sport or game, we will get some useful comments and feedback from coaches while in the middle of the game, which can drastically change the game plan and can change the win to lose ratio as well. This happens because coach always observes from the top line of the match point of view. He always grabs the attention of the all the opponent team players and his team players, and basing on this info and their positions, they will just make an analysis that can change the match scenario as well. Basing on this kind of approach, many applications have been designed. Not all of them are successful due to improper use of algorithms and all, but this is not the such kind of paper. This paper uses Markovian process, which is the widely used algorithm for any sport. So let's get deep into it and get all the details out of it. For any part of data mining approach, the first thing is data. We have to capture data. In that case, it is very common, data mining is very simple. So it always consists of four parts, basically three parts: data management, data collection, data analysis. And if else you would like to, you can go on visualization the data. But here we are only mentioning data management, acquisition, and analysis. So the fourth part is system management, where if a coach wanted to see in top angle approach, he needs to get some access of some sort of camera or so. So he has to interact with the data, the scripts that are already pre-used. In that scenario, he needs some kind of video positioning and all those. That gets us the fourth point, system management. So let's start with data management. Data management is all about the players' information and the team's information and the positions that where they are going to stand, and the win to lose ratio of each court, each half set court. To be frank, there might be some sort of coincidence or sentiment kind of thing. One side of court will win more matches than the other side of the court. That could be signs the light falls into the eyes or something like that. But if this happens all the time, this can be something that also have to take into the consideration. Might be the court demographic and its conditions as well, but yeah, it also will be taken into the consideration. Data acquisition. Data acquisition or collection is something like grabbing data. It can be, normally we can call it as rumors. Rumors are also data. It is also called as data acquisition or collection. Basically, we gather data from other people and through surveys or through Google, from different sites. But here, it shouldn't be that vague. It has to be efficient for because the team's performance is based upon this data. So in this case, it should be very efficient and perfect. Here they use two different approaches: keyboard acquisition and mouse acquisition. Keyboard acquisition is basically the input from the keys. It is very easy. If you're playing games like you use WASD or the arrow marks for playing, because that gives you the good strokes of the keys. and it is very handy and useful for you to win the matches. And mouse acquisition, mouse is used for, if you're into the games, mouse is used for camera angles and firing, or if it is some sort of arcade games, you can do whatever you want with mouse. Whereas it won't be, our fingers won't be that fast when compared to keyboard. In mouse, we need to drag and click, whereas in keyboard, just a tap will be enough. So, mouse acquisition, the data is more into the accuracy, but whereas the speed is the limitation. For keyboard, the speed is ultimate, and whereas the accuracy is little lower. Now, we shall get into data analysis and processing. All these thing is happening just because to get a team to win. The coach is thinking in that way. The team has to perform to get their cup or to make their country proud, uh, these kind of things. So we are gathering data. We wanted to make a team win, so that we need to code. Yeah, coding is always needed for anything that related to computer. In that case, let's divide into three small parts of data analysis. First is script description and data classification with statistical analysis. Of course, it is data science. So statistical analysis is a mandatory thing. Let's dive into script. Scripting is basically, you're just finding a pattern. You are finding a pattern to analyze the situation and to give the predictive results which are useful to use. Basically, that's a little way, useful to use because it will be useful only. Okay, scripting particularly depends upon the patterns. If you can realize that pattern matching is something like series of activities and series of actions. If you can gather data of your own self, you can find patterns in your routine. When you wake up, you'll drink coffee or tea, and go to office and do the work and come back to home and eat the lunch dinner and go back to sleep. By recording all these activities, this is the same pattern you have been following from past many days or many years might be. Due to this, based on this, someone can easily tell that at this time he will be at office. At this particular time he will be having his dinner. Based on this, the collecting this information from competitors team, at what point of time who will be moving forward and who will be defending the ball, and these kind of actions, the states and everything will be collected, and that is easily called as scripting. It's because nothing but script. It is little bit vague, but again, so in general purpose, it is just a script. But the scripting in the coding part differs, the meaning differs a lot. Overall, the meaning is the same. Here, the scripting language that this author has used is Chinese character pinyin stroke coding. Pinyin stroke coding has a very complex and traditional kind of approach. Here, if you take three parts of Chinese characters, two-part characters and single-part characters, or and three-part characters. If you take it as three parts, and there will be horizontal stroking and vertical stroking. If you cannot understand this, if you play a game with you by using joystick, there will be or anything like mouse also, there will be vertical camera rotation and horizontal camera rotation. And and also if you are playing any fighting sort of game using joystick, you can kick vertically or punch horizontally. These kind of strokes, these kind of risings makes the game more immersive. So this is very traditional, that most of the scripting technologies use Chinese pinyin characters, and this is being used from decades and very robust kind of technology it is. And this happens, and scripting happens always on the data gathering, because if the our competitor's team has to be pattern matched, there should be patterns. That means there should be data. The data is collected in two different formats as we mentioned previously. So the first is convenient memory, which is the most kind of thing. And the advantage here is, as long as the people say the word, they can immediately associate with the code. If you can look into it properly, it represents one of the words to use a character. And there is an ambiguity here. So while using another character to represent one of the words, it doesn't seem that good, right? So let's see what will happen with this. And the second method is keyboard kind of thing. Here, the ambiguity is nothing but, say, the words with different meaning can be described with same symbol in different category. But this can be achieved by script parser. Script parser is nothing but it expands the availability of words so that it can choose from wide range of words, where we can avoid ambiguity of assigning these symbols to same words or different words. Data classification. Um, when we look into this position, get data, script library, competitive information, data delivery, action tactics, let's just put all this aside. It all makes data warehouse. Script library. What do we want? Basically, data. Data to make a database. We need data to make a database. Data in the form of raw data. Here it is. Data in the form of patterns. Data with competitive information. Of course, this is pattern, but they change their data accordingly. And data delivery. Data delivery is nothing but the collection of data which is been integrating all the time and all, and actions and tactics of the players. This makes it is completely an operational database. This data warehouse is completely operational. This is operational because it has large amount of data into it, large amount of tactics, and huge kind of structures and models are there. So this has to be operational, and this doesn't have any chance to be historical or something, because this data warehouse is operational. This is this doesn't care about the historical data. It directly performs on the data which is given to it. It doesn't unsupervisedly learn from the history of the data. So this kind of data warehouse is not very efficient for a reason, because without knowing the past we can't predict the future, obviously. So using this database is not that efficient. So using this database with Markovian process, which combines the states of the process, is an efficient kind of approach. Now let's get into the statistical analysis, which is the main part of this paper. Statistical analysis. In this paper, in the data mining algorithm that is deeply integrated into is Markovian process and association rules algorithm. These two algorithms are used in the statistical analysis. If you are still confused, let's make it into the two parts and get into the details. Let's go. Markovian process. Markovian process is nothing but the interaction between two states. If you take state S1, let me put it in this way. If you take state S1, so it depends. The result will depend upon S2. What is this state being? This state being is just an empty state in Markovian process. It doesn't mean anything in Markovian process. So in games, in volleyball, when a player stands at S1 and the same player goes to S2 with the action, meanwhile in between these two states, he hasn't done anything, it seems to be, by the rule of Markovian process. But this can be, this approach can be used in different non-moving object kind of scenarios. But here, when a player moves from one state to other state, he performs an action. It is a game, he has to perform an action, and he performs it very quickly. So it is very insane to capture these kind of movements and actions when we are using Markovian process. So that is the reason why we have been moving to Semi-Markovian process. Semi-Markovian process points the time to be on point. Here, when he performs an action, there is the time that is been going on. It captures time. When now let's say into the state S3. When he is into the state S3, the time being is still increased. Now I can say that T1 is greater than T2. This is because player 1 has took the ball and he's been waiting to serve, and he had served. After serving, the ball came back to the player 1 and he had hit it. This is very quick action. The time consumption is very less, and this is very fast action. He took little bit amount of time than when compared to T2. So calculating times in the states when the and the actions, this is an infinite process. So this is also the semi-Markovian process is also called as infinite Markovian chain. This is an infinite process. Comparatively, comparing two times with the states being used by the player and the actions he performed, combining all these, the script will be designed. Making the script usable, we use system management, and giving out the predictions is based upon, again it again turns into semi-Markovian process. Finally, the statistical analysis here is semi-Markovian process, and it is the conclusion, and it is the called as infinite Markovian chain. It starts with semi-Markovian process, it goes to scripting, then the scripted data will be inputted, whether as an mouse or keyboard kind of approaches, and the system management will produce it. The coach or someone who is going to look into the predictions, and the predictions will be displayed again with semi-Markovian process. And this infinite chain is infinite Markovian chain. And this is what happening here. I hope you got it very clear. There is sort of formula. Of course, there will be a formula. Without formula or statistics or mathematics, there is no computer science programming. So here this is the position. S dash is the state, T is the time, and again it is the product of two states and with the time being simple. And this is the example that I have been telling you from past minutes. And the second thing is association rule mining. Association rule is it is a link between two actions. When let's come into the same topic again here. Here it is S1 and here it is S2. These are two different states, and two different actions will be performed in two different states. Here one action is performed. After some time, another action has been performed. So, for an example, let me put it in this way. If a player is using a right hand while serving or while tackling the ball, this is the association rule mining. It predicts that player is using only right hand in these cases of scenarios. So it will predict and put it in this way to the coach, and then the coach will make decision like if they can manage if they are able to put the ball mostly into the left side, there is a huge chance that player can miss it. That is the use of association rule mining. And that's for time being, no? Time being with semi-Markovian process, and time being with association rule mining, and time being with me as well. In the system management, from the past few slides have been mentioning about system management, and you are not aware of what this guy is talking. And this is how it looks from video positioning. Video positioning happens from YTR and 1, 2, 3, 4, and these many points of views just to capture and to analyze. That's it. If the script doesn't work, the coach will always replace the scripts into the system management. It is that interactive, and again, as previously told, scripts will be replaced and the prediction will be continued, and it all again turns into semi-Markovian process, and the decisions will be made by coaches. The coaches are the ultimate option. Without manual interruption, there won't be any computer automation. And that's it. Thank you for being with me.